Hey, this is Michael Lindsay from Vital MX. We're down here at Race Tech today. We have the 2023 KTM 300 SX. This is, of course, their new design fuel-injected 300. We got to ride this a couple months ago at Redbud. A lot of people were stoked on this bike from that intro. We really wanted to bring it down here, throw it on a dyno, and straight up see, like, how does this thing compare? We made some pretty big claims about this thing being just as good as a four-stroke to ride, being really easy to ride. So we wanted to see not only where the numbers were, but even what the power curve looked like. Andrew, you get to spend a lot of time in this place running bikes. What did you think of the curve, the power output? Was it what you expected? Did it impress you? Or
in all aspects, this thing was really impressive. Just by the throttle response and the feeling of it being on the dyno, it was a lot more responsive than any other two-stroke that we've experienced. Not only that, but the horsepower and torque curve were so straight and linear. Like you could literally put a straight edge on that thing and follow it up.
So we have a couple up here. So we've got like the 300 versus 350 run. We got 300 versus 450, all those KTMs. We have a Yamaha YZ250 line to show you guys. As a note, these are all done on Racetech's dyno. It doesn't show quite as big number as like a dyno jet, but at the end of the day, all that really matters when you're dynoing stuff is that you're doing it in comparable situations. So you'll get to see on there. The thing I was really impressed with is low to mid torque and horsepower being more than the 350. The 350 is great up top because it revs to the freaking moon, but was that surprising you that it's better than that 350 four-stroke?
Absolutely. When we compared those two runs, I was really surprised that a two-stroke was making more bottom-end mid-range torque than a 350 was. It was really neat to see.
And then compared to, we have like a Yamaha 250 two-strokes. You guys have done some of those lately for like straight rhythm. You get to do Yamahas and some KTM 250 two-stroke carbureted stuff pretty often. How big of a difference is, again, that curve? Like when you run the two-strokes, you always see, no matter how good it's jetted, how much motor work you do to it, you always see some sort of a dip to it in places, right?
Absolutely, yeah. There's always some kind of wave in the horsepower, torque, air-fuel ratio, and with this bike in particular, it was just straight all the way across, and the air-fuel ratio was really good as well.
And then last one is map switch. So of course, all these bikes have couplers, map changes, all the 450s, the 250s. It's a little more unique to see on the two-stroke. You seem super surprised at the difference the map switches made.
Yeah, in most cases, when we're switching between the two maps, you don't really get to see too much of a change there. Some of the riders do feel a change. I think that's the goal. But visually seeing it on the dyno, it was a substantial difference between the two maps.
One last thing we did before we headed out at Racetech today was throw it on their weight bias scale. We always try to do that when we have a bike down here. We weighed it first with no fuel in the tank dry. It was 220 right on the dot, 220 pounds. And then when we did a full load of fuel, it was 231.5 pounds. So we're actually going to take this bike, a KTM 350, the new one, the new KTM 450. We're going to do a comparison track test on those this next week. So I'm going to take a group of riders, give you guys our comparison feedback, what we actually think riding them. Plus we're going to lap time them, best lap time for a couple of the riders, and we're going to do an average lap time. So we're going to see really how easy is this thing to ride. Is this a genuine option over a 450 or a 350? We're going to try to find that out. So if you have any thoughts or questions about any of the dyno runs we did, throw it in the comment section below. We'll try to get to answering them. And make sure you stay tuned for the comparison test, which should be coming up in about the next week or so.